Some housekeeping notes to mention: this event is organized by the Executives Club. So all the speakers you see on stage are Executives Club members. You can identify Executive Club members with the brown name tags. So if you have any questions for them, search them out by their name tag. Amazing. Next up, I'm excited to introduce Maddie from Blue Cipher Bookkeeping to introduce our next speaker. Hello.
Hello, hello. Hey everyone, my name is Maddie. I own Blue Cipher Bookkeeping, and we make bookkeeping easy, efficient, and understandable for nonprofits and small business owners. Because we know you're all way too busy to be dealing with all of that, we're the QuickBooks experts so that you don't have to be. And we'll be that person in your corner all year round, and you and your CPA will love us because we make tax time suck a lot less. So if you need someone to help with your books, feel free to reach out, come talk to me, say hi. And then this morning, I have the pleasure to introduce Sarah Koustrup to everyone. She is the president of Fargo-based hotel management and development company, National Hospitality Services, which is an affiliate of Hotel Equities. She oversees all of the daily business operations, including owner communications and asset management. Her focus on community culture, people development, and guest service drives results and has spurred nationwide portfolio growth for the firm. Since joining NHS in 2012, under her leadership and vision, the company has expanded from just 6 hotels under management to more than 40 today, including IHG, Marriott, Hilton, and Hyatt franchise affiliations. She also played an integral role in forming the strategic alliance with Hotel Equities, which was just announced in Q1 of 2023, and her experience hails from widely known companies like Microsoft, Citi, and Midco. She serves on the IHG Owners Association and chairs the brand's People Committee. She holds a Bachelor of Business Administration and Human Resources Management, as well as a master's certification in Hospitality Administration and Management. So I'm welcome to introduce you to Sarah.
The girl with the knee problem had to walk up that step. Hi, everybody. All right. Well, when you read your own bio, or you hear your own bio, it always sounds so fancy, but then you ask somebody, well, what do you do? I don't know. So again, my name is Sarah Koustrup. I am from National Hospitality Services. I'm really lucky to speak today because I think I'm a little bit of an oddity. You've heard from incredible entrepreneurs here today, amazing people that have started their jobs and their companies boots up and really shown incredible grit. That's not me. I'm not an entrepreneur. I never wanted to be an entrepreneur, never wanted to even run a company. My career started in human resources. I really love people. I was lucky to have a lot of time with big companies like Maddie mentioned. I worked with Citigroup and Midco and Microsoft, all doing human resources. And then I got recruited over to this little company called National Hospitality Services, running hotels. They'd never had human resources. And for me, I thought that was such a cool challenge. Coming from great big companies with all these rules and all these things to be able to kind of start from scratch, that was really fun for me. And so I really wanted to be able to grow, and grow I did. I was really lucky because the entrepreneur that I worked for took a little bit of interest in that girl from HR that he didn't think he needed in the first place. He really took me from, oh gosh, she knows people, to she knows people, we're in the people business. Hey, I ask you and I challenge you all, the entrepreneurs that are sitting there, to think about your number 2. To think about the person that sits next to you. Maybe that's your wife, maybe that's your husband, like we heard, right? But also maybe the person that will succeed you someday. Because eventually, maybe you're gonna get lucky enough to retire. And that next step is the person who needs to run that company after you. And what does that look like? So for me, I got really lucky. I was able to learn a lot about the business. I got my master's degree in hospitality while working. That was a fun time. But during that time, I learned a lot about leadership. And I learned a lot about how to lead people and what it means to really help people grow. And for me, and even today in this world of we can't find anybody, and don't leave us, please don't quit. No, it's fine, everything's fine, don't worry about it. I'm a big culture of accountability person. And for me, that's probably the lesson that I can teach any of you in here or tell you about. Many of you already know it, but here's my theory. If you hold yourself, your team, and your leaders accountable, you will have success. And it's gonna be hard. I am not standing here telling you that it's gonna be easy or that everyone's gonna do exactly what you say and you're gonna have this beautiful, field of dream moments where all the team comes around you and rah, right? It doesn't work that way. But what does work is having this culture where you know what you want and you tell your team what you want. Not in big, long speeches, but just very plain language. That really does work. If you explain the why, everything becomes easier. If your team knows from beginning to end why they're doing something, they're gonna jump in really quickly and they're going to do what you're asking to do. For example, I work in hotels, so I've coached and counseled housekeepers, front desks, general managers, directors of sales on everything and anything when it comes to a guest. You may think that things like clean a room is obvious. Please clean that hotel room for me. Thank you, have a great day. It's not, it's really not. For those of you who have ever cleaned, and we mama ducks in here, right? You know what it's like, it is a difficult task. But little things become bigger things if you don't explain why. We have the unbelievably obvious task of making and changing sheets every time that you have a new guest. Seems obvious. Not to everyone. You need to explain that. You need to explain why every time a guest leaves, you need to put new sheets on, right? That seems obvious to us, but if you don't explain to your team why, it doesn't always make sense. Same thing with your leaders. If you don't explain to them why, I need that report every Tuesday, and that report is really important because I have to give it to my boss and he has to give it to his board, then they're not going to necessarily see it as super important. So explain why. With that then comes accountability. I always have my team give me a verbal yes. There is some long study that I wish I could find for you that says if you are able to get somebody to verbally say to you, yes, I agree, that will resonate differently. If you say, Lisa, I'm gonna need that report on Thursday. Yeah, Lisa, can you do that for me? Right, she's making this face, right? Now, Lisa could look at me and, yeah. I always say, Lisa, I'm gonna need to hear a yes from you, please, honey. Thank you, see, I love that. Thank you, Lisa, that's so awesome. Her saying that to me locks something in the brain, locks something. I made a commitment to Sarah, I'm gonna get that done. Now, Lisa could say to me, I can't make Thursday work. No, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna do that. Now we're having a conversation. And now we can talk about why that's not gonna work. If you don't have that dialogue, if you don't have that, that report's not gonna get done Thursday, and your team member isn't gonna actually be the success that you want them to be. If you have the dialogue, if you hold them accountable, if you help them troubleshoot your way through it, it's gonna make a big difference. During that troubleshooting, this is my other piece of advice, don't get stuck outside the box. What I mean by that is this. You are gonna have team members that just want to hope and dream their way through everything. If only we had more people. If only we had an endless budget. If only we had, right? We've had those conversations. Well, I can't do that because this, and this. And that's okay. Those are conversations to have, right? But if you get stuck way out here talking about all the reasons why, nope, we don't have a no budget. We have a budget. No, we don't have an endless supply of employees. It doesn't work that way. No, unicorns cannot walk in through our lobby and tap dance for the guests to make them happier. None of those things are going to work. But let's talk about what does work. You're not able to do it Thursday. Tell me why. What can I take off your plate? What can I help you with? Having those conversations are going to make a huge difference when you're working through and trying to help people understand. Next, make sure you're telling them what you need. Make sure you're talking about what bothers you, what doesn't bother you, what you want. A story from my very, very early days in HR, I worked for a woman as her assistant. And I would bring her paperwork. This is early days, right? Not a lot of email, everything was printed. And I would bring her this paperwork, and over and over and over, she'd get this kind of look on her face when I'd bring her things. I never really knew, but I just sort of brought it and walked away. And one day, she's having a rough day, and I brought in the paperwork, and she looks at it, and she looks at me, and she picks up her stapler, and she throws it across the room, not far from me, and says, "I hate paper clips. Use the effing stapler." Yes, ma'am. Could have been easier than potentially assaulting me if she had just said, "Hey, you know what really bugs me? Paper clips, they get caught on things, bothers me. Don't do that." Sure. That's not hard to do, right? They can't read your mind. No one can read your mind. If you don't know, if you don't tell them, they're not gonna know. We have my old boss, now my business partner, is notorious for not reading email. Hates it. My team is here, they know, he doesn't read email. But I had this moment with him of saying, "You need to read your email. You have to do it. I know it's really annoying, but you have to." And he said, "Sarah, they write me these long books." And I said, "Yes, they write you long books because they want to explain everything to you because you're very important and they want to please you." "Yeah, it doesn't please me. I don't have time for it. I open it, see it's long, and close it again." Yep, I get that. I see that. I see how that's happening. So here's what you need to do. You are all doing it. I know this. I know you entrepreneurs, you're all doing it. So here's what I told him to do. This was 10 years later. This is 10 years ago, and he still talks about it, and he still does it. Anyone that he communicates with regularly, he says, don't write me books. If you need something, put it in bullets. If you can't write that email in bullet form, then we need a meeting. And that has worked for 10 years, and it's worked incredibly well. All he had to do was take the step of saying, "This is what I want from you. This is what I need, because I'm not going to read your email." And those of us on the other side of those emails are no longer frustrated because he's actually reading them, and he is no longer frustrated because he's not opening up books. So as a leader, as that second in command, I know you've got a lot on your plate, and as you're thinking about what's next, maybe you're going to go start your own business. All of the things that we all aspire to as leaders every day, I ask you to do this. Beyond the tips that I've given you, the thoughts that I've given you, please think about yourself. Think about how far you've come. Every month, every 2 months, every quarter, take a minute, think about all the good things you've done. I know that seems weird and it seems like a little bit, I need to write my action plan. No, write about the good stuff you did. And try to remember the crisis of today is nothing in a year. I regularly, when I'm having a bad day, I go to my email. I go to my sent email from 1 year, and I read them. It's amazing. The things that were grinding you, 3 a.m, you wanted to die, it's all ending. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, we don't even talk to that guy anymore. Right? Do that. Do yourself a favor. It'll make you feel a lot better. Crises come and go. You will remain. Thank you.